Hey, what's up everybody? This is Swaggadon with Swagger Gaming, bringing you another video from the World of Warcraft Battle for Azeroth Beta test servers. Today we'll be looking at the Inscription profession. Inscription has its ups and downs, but I think it will be a pretty big gold maker at the beginning of the expansion with some of its new items. Like all professions, Inscription is now broken into different expansions for leveling. This means that you can pick up new professions in Battle for Azeroth and are able to craft the current items right away. Unfortunately for Inscription, this means that you will not have access to the older glyphs through leveling BfA Inscription, even though they will still be usable at level 120. If you plan on switching to Inscription for BfA, I would recommend picking up the Legion version and grabbing all of the glyphs now, as they only require level 1 at the moment. BfA Inscription goes up to 150 skill level, but the last item you can learn is at 110 skill level, and I have not found an actual reason, besides the max skill achievements, to actually bring it up past that. As you level up in skill, you can rank up your crafting items from 1 to 2 to 3 stars. These ranks simply decrease the amount of materials required to craft that item. There are a few 2-star items from the trainer, but the majority of rank 2 and 3 recipes are purchased from factions at honored or revered reputation. To see exactly how and where to obtain the next rank, you can go to the profession crafting page. The basics of Inscription have not changed, and you will need to mill herbs into pigment. This is done 5 at a time until skill level 50, when you get the mass mill ability that can handle 20 herbs at a time, is queuable, and even grants you skill points. There are 3 new pigments in Battle for Azeroth. These are Ultramarine Pigment, Crimson Pigment, and Viridescent Pigment. When milling, you get an average of 4 Ultramarine, 1 Crimson, and around a quarter of a Viridescent Pigment per 5 herbs. Viridescent pigment does not always drop, but when it does, it can drop up to 5. It appears that milling Anchorweed, the rarer herb, gives you at least 1 viridescent pigment every time. Ultramarine and Crimson pigments are then combined with distilled water to make ink. Viridescent ink requires both the distilled water and acacia powder. Both of these materials can be found at the Inscription vendor. It takes about 1.5 seconds per cast to make an ink, so be prepared to sit around for a while when going through this process. Items take anywhere between 10 and 80ish ink to craft, so depending on what you are doing, you can easily get into the 10-minute range of watching ink get made. Okay, let's get into the new stuff. There are new talent change items added in the form of tomes and codexes of the Quiet Minds. These work exactly like the Legion versions and allow you to change talents while out of combat. War Scrolls were added and mimic the effects of the raid buffs in BfA. War Scroll of Fortitude increases stamina by 7%, War Scroll of Intellect increases intellect by 7%, and War Scroll of Battle Shout increases attack power by 7%. All of these last for 30 minutes and might be nice for smaller raids that don't have a priest, mage, or warrior. The last new scroll is the Scroll of Unlocking and allows the opening of locks that require up to 600 lockpicking skill. Contracts are a new item in BfA Inscription and look really cool. These allow you to gain extra reputation with a certain faction once you have reached friendly when you complete world quests in certain zones. There are contracts for Talanji's Expedition, Voldenai, and the Zandalari Empire for the Horde, the Order of Embers, Proudmoore Admiralty, and Storm's Wake for the Alliance, and the Champions of Azeroth and Tortollan Seekers for both. These are usable items and last until you log out or die. I can see these being a very hot commodity and a great gold maker, especially early on in the Battle for Azeroth. There are only 3 new glyphs in BfA and they are all for druids. Note again that to be able to craft the other glyphs, it appears you will need to learn Inscription from previous expansions. The first glyph is the Glyph of the Dolphin, which can be purchased from Collector Kojo of the Tortollan Seekers once you hit Revered. The Glyph of the Tide Skipper drops from the Corrupted Tide Skipper, which is a rare spawn in Stormsong Valley. Both of these change your aquatic form. The last glyph is the Glyph of the Humble Flyer, which changes your swift flight form back to the normal flight form while keeping the speed boost. This is obtained from Old Gente, who is a druid sitting at the top of a waterfall near Atal Graal in Zuldazar. You simply listen to his story, and at the end he grants you the ability to craft the glyph. There are a few other items you can craft in BfA as well. Dark Moon cards and Vantis runes are nothing new, but we do get new versions. Dark Moon cards of War work like before and require you to combine the Ace through 8 of the set. Note that each card costs 1 Expulsum to create, meaning these could easily end up being extremely expensive to craft and another great gold maker. Each deck can be turned into one of 4 trinkets. Each trinket shuffles itself randomly throughout combat and buffs the trinket effect depending on which card is on top. The Blockades trinket has 141 agility or strength and gives you a small heal and stamina each time the deck is shuffled. The Tides trinket has 141 intellect and restores a moderate amount of mana each time the deck is shuffled. It also gives you a chance to throw a card at an ally that heals and bounces to other party members. The Squalls trinket also has 141 intellect and puts a damage over time effect on the target. The duration of this dot depends on which card is on top of the deck. The last trinket is the Fathoms trinket, which has 141 agility or strength depending on your class. This has a chance to drop an anchor on your target that deals an amount of damage depending on which card is on top of the deck. Vantis runes work exactly the same as in Legion, and the recipes will drop from the first boss in each raid. Vantis runes grant 104 versatility against the boss it is attuned to for the week. There are also 2 item level 300 offhands that can be crafted. One is called the Honorable Combatant's Etched Vessel, and the other is Inscribed Vessel of Mysticism. Both of these have 226 intellect, 111 stamina, and 45 and 34 of 2 random secondary stats. I'm not sure why there are 2 offhands with the exact same stats, but the Inscribed Vessel of Mysticism requires Expulsum, making it much more expensive to craft. The last item I wanted to talk about is called the Crimson Inkwell. This is a piece of follower equipment and gives your follower a chance to bring back ink from successful missions. I'm not sure they really thought about how the new profession system would affect Inscription, as it feels bad to be one of the only professions to have to level old content to stay 100% relevant. That being said, the Dark Moon cards and the addition of contracts will probably make this a huge moneymaker early on in the expansion. But what do you all think? Are you going to pick up Inscription for BfA? Do you think they should simplify the milling and ink crafting process to bring down the dead time? Let me know in the comment section below. If you like this video, please think about hitting that like button and subscribing to the channel for more gaming content. Thanks for watching and have a great one.